What's up, guys? This is Chris from DraftDashboard.com. Here are my DFS picks for MLB Sunday, August 13th. These picks apply for DraftKings and FanDuel. Before I get started, please drop a like on this video and hit that red subscribe button and hit that bell icon so you don't miss our new videos. In this video, I'm going to go over my top picks for today's MLB slate. And if you stick around to the very end of this video, we'll use the Draft Dashboard tools to make a DFS lineup using the picks we just made. Okay guys, we have an 8-game MLB slate tonight, so let's take a look at the pitcher position. So I got another value play here at pitcher. I like Jameson Taillon, and he's got a nice pitching advantage here over the Toronto Blue Jays. Jameson Taillon pitching his best ball versus righty batters, only giving up a .665 OPS versus righties. And he's facing 7 righties here tonight, and the Blue Jays have only hit 21 of his last 104 pitches. That's a .202 batting average and a huge sample size. So Jameson Taillon is only $8,200 FanDuel salary. He's 1,000 less on DraftKings, averaging 23 fantasy points per game on the season. He scored 46, 30, and 37 fantasy points in his last 3 games. So I like Jameson Taillon here versus the Toronto Blue Jays. Okay, let's take a look at the catcher first base position. I like Riley Adams. He's got a 22% batting advantage over a low salary pitcher, Ken Waldichuk. Riley Adams batting 33% better versus lefty pitchers, batting a 1.146 OPS versus lefties. Ken Waldichuk giving up a .868 OPS versus righties. Now Riley Adams is 0 for 2 here versus Waldichuk, but the splits are great. And he's $2,900 FanDuel salary, 300 more on DraftKings, averaging 10 fantasy points per game on the season. He has a batting average of .307 and scored fantasy points in all 5 of his last games. So I like Riley Adams here versus Ken Waldichuk. Okay, let's take a look at the second base position. So I got a value play for you here. I like Eldemaro Vargas. He's got a 31% batting advantage over that same low salary pitcher, Ken Waldichuk. Eldemaro Vargas is batting 31% better versus lefty pitchers, batting a .867 OPS versus lefties. Ken Waldichuk pitching his worst ball versus lefty batters, giving up a .967 OPS versus lefties. Now, Eldemaro Vargas is 0 for 2 here versus Waldichuk, but he's only $2,500 FanDuel salary, 100 less on DraftKings. He's averaging 7 fantasy points per game on the season, but he's been on fire, scoring 6, 35, and 19 fantasy points in the last 3 games. Has a batting average of .255. So I like Eldemaro Vargas here versus Ken Waldichuk. Real quick guys, I got great news. For a limited time, we're offering a full 30-day trial to Draft Dashboard. You can try all of our DFS tools for all sports. You can try the Position Optimizer, where you can see the top players ranked for each position. And we added a new Player Trends tool, where you can see the top salary differences between FanDuel and DraftKings. It's a really good tool to help you pick out value for the site that you're playing on. Oh, and if you're tired of doing research every day, we just added a cheat sheet that shows hand-picked plays for the slate. No confusing stat lines, no headaches, just a simple cheat sheet that shows the absolute best players for your lineups. Okay, let's take a look at the third base position. So I like Alex Bregman. He's got a 42% batting advantage over a low salary pitcher, Chase Silseth. Alex Bregman batting 35% better versus righty pitchers, batting a .852 OPS versus righties. Chase Silseth, he's giving up a He's pitching his worst ball versus righty batters. 7% worse than his other pitches is what I was trying to say. And he's pitching his worst ball, giving up a .716 OPS versus righties. So there's no at-bats versus Silseth yet. Alex Bregman, only 3,200 FanDuel salary, although he is 2,000 more on DraftKings. So I love that FanDuel price. Averaging 11 fantasy points per game on the season. He's been on fire, scoring fantasy points in all 5 of his last games. Has a batting average of .252. So I like Alex Bregman here versus Chase Silseth. Okay, let's take a look at the shortstop position. So I like Carlos Correa. He's got a 45% batting advantage over Ranger Suarez. Carlos Correa batting 16% better versus lefty pitchers, batting a .804 OPS versus lefties. Ranger Suarez pitching his worst ball versus righty batters, 29% worse than his other pitches, giving up a .802 OPS versus righties. So there's no at-bats versus Suarez yet. Carlos Correa, only 2,700 FanDuel salary, and he's 2,000 more on DraftKings as well, averaging 9 fantasy points per game on the season. He scored fantasy points in all 5 of his last games, so he's been on fire. Has a batting average of .230, but he's in a good spot here tonight for a low price tag, especially on FanDuel. So I like Carlos Correa here versus Ranger Suarez. Okay, moving on to the outfield position. So a couple of studs that I like on the slate, Shohei Ohtani and Aaron Judge. I like Aaron Judge as a home run hitter here tonight. Let's see, do I have another outfielder or do I just have those stud picks? Looks like just those stud picks. But if we want to just take a look right here live in the tools, you guys can see what I look for. So I definitely like to look for a weak pitcher and a batting advantage. So take a look at Andrew McCutchen. He's got a 14% batting advantage over a low salary pitcher, Luke Weaver. Andrew McCutchen batting a little bit better versus righty pitchers, batting a .775 OPS versus righties. Luke Weaver pitching his worst ball versus righty batters, giving up a .989 OPS versus righties. So there's no at-bats versus Weaver yet. Andrew McCutchen is 3,300 FanDuel salary and the same price on DraftKings, so it looks like a good price on DraftKings. Averaging 10 fantasy points per game on the season. He did score fantasy points in all 5 of his last games. Has a batting average of .260. So I like Andrew McCutchen here versus Luke Weaver.
If you want to try all these daily fantasy tools for yourself, click the link in the description below this video or just go to draftdashboard.com. You can use our DFS lineup optimizer to build quality lineups using our picks and your own custom player pool. Click the link in the description below this video and try all these daily fantasy tools right now. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that bell icon so you can get instant updates whenever we post a new video.
Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please smickety smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Oh, and please comment below with your favorite player for this MLB slate. I love to hear what you guys have to think. Thanks again and good luck.